and
calling
further the good
calling
work of this
Manishri Kyar
government.
Suresh Reddy ji.
Okay, sir.
Manishri Kyar Suresh Reddy ji. The mic is on now.
Yeah. Thank you, sir, for giving me this opportunity to speak on this, though considered a normal, a routine bill, but with a lot of significance. The Honourable Minister, in his explanation of the bill, has very rightly stated that some of the bills which are outdated, antiquated, which have lost their relevance, need to be withdrawn, repealed. Well, that definitely is a good measure. It's a measure which can lessen the burden on the judiciary. It's a measure which can sharpen the bureaucracy and ultimately help the people at large. So, any initiative in this regard, general help to the people is always welcome, and getting updated is a very good initiative, especially today and more so in the international forums. Having said that, having appreciated their initiative, you have to see the other side of the coin too, sir. When a bill is passed, the bill gets effective only after the rules are made. Now, when we see the bills, there are so many bills which have been passed where the rules are being pending, and the subordinate legislation goes through all this. And just the other day, we had a presentation of so many reports stating very clearly that the bill passed, the rules not being framed, and they have been delayed for a considerable period of time. Now, the onus lies on the Honourable Parliamentary Affairs Minister to look in this direction. While the government is reforming, the legislature, the Parliament also needs to rise to the occasion. While the government is reforming, the Parliament has even more bounded duty to realize its realism, because ultimately the laws are made here. So subordinate legislation is one area which needs your attention. Another most important aspect of any legislation, Deputy Chairman, sir, is how do you analyze the impact of it? The legislative impact assessment. There are two ways of looking at it. One is before the bill is introduced by the government definitely puts it up in public domain for its input. There's only a policy in 2004 which has been framed, but there's no law which mandates the government that any bill proposed should be put in public domain. And to quote a small example, from 2016 to 2019, Deputy Chairman, sir, there were almost 186 bills introduced, out of which 142 bills did not get public scrutiny before coming here. So that is very glaring in such a big democracy where the public input is not taken before the introduction of the bill, creates a lot of, I would say, more than uneasiness to the people, also trouble to the government. And then comes the post. After the bill is introduced and passed, how effective is the bill? Is there any impact assessment mechanism? Well, world over, most of the developed countries do have this mechanism. They evaluate how beneficial the bill is to the people. If there are certain amendments to be made, it will come through that, and then the government can come in through those necessary changes. One good example for that impact assessment not being done and the damage being done to the society at large and to the government in particular was the farm bills. The farm bills were introduced. The impact assessment was not done. We went through a huge dharna, people died, and ultimately the government had to go back on that. So this is one area where the legislature, and more so from your side, sir, from the chair side, we need to get a little more dynamic in this and ensure that the Parliament lives up to its bestowed responsibilities. And finally, sir, last thing is the international treaties. There are so many international treaties the government is signing. While you have removed a lot of outdated bills, there are certain treaties which come in. For example, the Antarctic bill came in. A treaty signed 40 years ago, now you come and made that into a bill. So the government should realize all these international treaties which you are signing, you are coming to this house after 20 years, 30 years, where the relevance is lost. So while welcoming removing the outdated bills, I also seek the Honorable Minister's intervention in this regard and ensure that we not only become, finally, sir, finally, just a small thing that...
Your time is already over. 1 minute more.
Well, if my time is over, I respect your thing, sir. I thank you for it.
Please. No, you want to speak, conclude, you please do.
So, I mean, I was just talking about, we being a representative democracy, and if the suggestions suggested by most of us from here, if are needed, then you turn into a responsible democracy. That is what the country needs today. Dynamism doesn't mean just removing outdated bills, but dynamism means that you bring in legislation which is beneficial to the people, and also before legislation and after legislation, involve the people. So that is how the bills in letter and spirit would be appreciated. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Mani Suresh Reddy ji.